When I tell people that I'm a poet, I downplay it a little bit. It's like, I'm the Poet Laureate for the city of Orlando. Sometimes the response would be, oh, I'd love to read your work, right? Which I get, it is a legitimate response, but my preferred method of poetry consumption is for them to hear me.
This is Orlando, we bring accents in our backpacks.
This is about legacy. We all have a race to run.
On a world stage, and it looks different for everyone.
Whole means that we are the sum of all of our parts.
The way that I would describe my poetry is a combination of storytelling and education, because I like to retell stories and things that are interesting to me, reshare them in creative ways.
In the cool shadow of the Orlando Eye, Caribbean roots plant well in this soil. They say my city beautiful, but why?
To be a poet laureate means you are a representative of poetry, storytelling, literary arts on behalf of the region or community that you serve. I speak at Black History Month events, Hispanic Heritage Month events, a State of Downtown address. Like, these aren't normal spaces where you would think, oh, we need to etch out a space for poetry here.
1916. That's the year my great-grandmother was born.
If you're talking about the African oral tradition, the griot was also, in a sense, in government. They were preservers of history, preservers of tradition. So to include a wordsmith who could add language and color to that event that still aligns with what they're trying to communicate, and having the city's main influencers be exposed opens their eyes to what poetry can do and the impact that it can have in the community. What that's meant for me personally is an opportunity to celebrate poetry, to celebrate storytelling, to go into schools. What I love to do is expose students to poetry the way that I do it, because it makes poetry accessible. When they hear me speak or perform, it's not this unreachable academic thing that they don't have access to. Oftentimes, I'm just like twisting the cap off. And they're like, all the fizz come out, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you've been writing. You can still be poetically expressive or validate your little breakup poem as like, hey, that's poetry too.
Here's a haiku.
Poetry is like this universal tool to have in the back pocket for the soft skills that you will need beyond high school, beyond college. When I realized that spoken word could have social impact was when I taught a poetry class at 33rd Street Jail. My poetry troupe at the time, Diverse Elements, we called ourselves, we would go into 33rd with the youth offenders and share our poetry and share our life story and have conversations about critical decision-making, showing them how we use language as a way to process and express things that may be challenging to express. Once those students started writing and then we invited loved ones to come and hear them speak, I mean, it wasn't a dry eye in the room. And we made like little certificates for them, like you can spit now and that kind of thing. Some of those students I'm in contact with that have gotten out and rebuilt their life.
First time that I hear poetry, the first thing you think is roses are red, violets are blue. And as I get older and mature, you learn that poetry is freedom. It helped us a lot to be able to express ourselves in a time where we was compressed and couldn't even talk at all. And so being able to use our voice is very impactful. Sometimes I go into the jails and speak to other youth who are in my situation. Sometimes I use it to, be able to raise capital for other entrepreneurs who are formerly incarcerated. If I didn't meet Shawn back then and learn how to articulate my voice and things that I'm going through, I don't think I would have been comfortable enough to share my story.
Reading.
I started an open mic night in Orlando in 2006 called Diverse Word. And it was just a space for poets like myself to get together, to share their poems, their stories, to let the art be the main thing.
When I think about diverse word, this is home.
There's people who look forward to it.
I was in high school. Seeing Shawn made me realize poetry could be expressive.
His work and impact in the community really, really encouraged me to feel like I could integrate everything I love creatively and clinically. I lead poetry therapy groups with different populations, teens and adults, including veterans. In mental health settings, we find that people have things that are buried inside of them, and poetry is the perfect medium to figure out how to kind of dig up those things.
It means community, it means hope for humanity as people come in here and continue to express themselves and find appreciation for their voice and the perspectives of others.
I hosted that night every week for 17 years. That's the thing I'm probably most proud of. Thank you.
I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a thinker. I love to serve people, serve humanity. It's who I am.
My mission is just to inspire, entertain, and educate all people through the power of performance, poetry, and speaking. Wherever that lands with people will be their own stories to tell.